I wanted to start off by talking about your mom and taking you back to Little Mr. Texas, 1977, and the contest you thought you won.
Yeah. Until 2 years ago. Um, Mom entered me in the Little Mr. Texas contest. Bandera, Texas, 1977. Right out there on the horse. Let's get you a nice vest here. Made by that deer that we killed. Yes, perfect. That fits you just right. Got your cowboy hat set, your boots shined. Here we go. On the stage. Boom. Next thing I know, they call out the winners. I don't know. I got a trophy. And from that day on, my mom immediately framed a picture of me holding that trophy and put it up on the kitchen wall where every morning when I would come to breakfast, she'd go, look at you right there. You are Little Mr. Texas. I'd be like, yeah, I am. Thanks, Mom. Yeah. Every day, you are Little Mr. Texas. That was 1977. 2 years ago, when I started gathering stuff to write this book, I came across that photo, and I looked at the nameplate on the trophy that I was holding in the picture, and I zoomed in on it, and it said "runner up." I mean, I called my mom. I was like, Mom, you told me all these years I was Little Mr. Texas. I was actually runner up, and she said, No. That kid who won. His family was really rich, so they had money to buy him a nice three-piece suit, and we call that cheating. And the running joke has been sort of like, would I be where I am now in life if I had not lived the last however many years thinking that I was Little Mr. Texas? What would have happened to me if I'd have grown up thinking I was runner-up?
Speaking of cheating, how about the seventh grade poetry contest?
That is a great example of my mom's outlaw sort of existential talk about the queen of relativity. I've got a poetry contest. I think it's around seventh grade. I work hard on a poem. I come show my mom. She says, yeah, it's not bad. Keep working on it. I go back to my bedroom. I work on it for another hour or two. I come back. She has a hardcover book with her. She opens this book. She goes, well, read that poem right there. What do you think of that? And I open it up and I read this poem. It says, if all that I would want to do would be to sit and talk to you, would you listen? And I was like, wow, that's good. She goes, you like that one? I said, yeah. She goes, it means something to you. I said, yes. She goes, then write that. And I go, what do you, I mean, but it's a poetry contest that I'm entering my poem into. It's not my poem. You want me to write this? And she goes, no. If you like it, understand it, it means something to you, then it's yours. Write that and sign your name to that. So I wrote it. I signed it. And I won the seventh grade poetry contest.
Wait, and correct me if I'm wrong. She was a teacher for a really long time, and decided
39 years.
And she decided she didn't want to get a teaching certificate, right?
She never had her teacher certificate. She said, yeah, it's coming. And she would just roll it. Yeah, it's coming. Until after about 2 weeks, she would become so popular in the school that they seemed to forget about that certificate that was coming in the mail, which there was no certificate.
You made a passing comment about this in your book that she did not like her life growing up.
Well, she would say she didn't really have an upbringing. She had, mother wasn't there. There was a stepmother very early on who did some very mean-spirited things to her. And then a father that in many ways was subservient to the stepmother who did not like my mother, his daughter, at a very young age. So she had such a disdain for her mom and her stepmom, and has stories that you wouldn't wish on any child to have. That's where her sense of and how she became a good mom, by just going against the experience that she had. She's had an incredible amount of resilience. And that's one of the great traits that she's ingrained in us, her boys, and that she's 88 years young right now. She's a great example of the power of denial if you commit to it. All right, just talk about resilience. I mean, this, like I said, she's beaten 2 types of cancer on aspirin and denial.
You won a 3 growing up. You were the youngest. You had a middle brother, Pat, who was adopted, older brother, Rooster. Rewind to when you were born. Why was your dad not there?
I don't know why he wasn't there. I probably had something to do with, done it with 2, and It's the third one. It's no big deal. You can do it. I don't know. It's probably a combination of that, but also the fact that they've been trying to have another child for over 5 years. So when mom got pregnant with what turned out to be me, they were both in denial. Even my mother has a sort of half serious running joke of thinking I was a tumor for 5 months. So mom gets pregnant. Mom's going to have a child. Dad wasn't there. And I remember his his comment was, "Katie, you got it. One rule, if it's a boy, don't name him Kelly." Which is like, okay. And, it didn't bother me at the time.
Your parents seem to get on each other a little bit. Tell about sticking the hose in the car.
Oh, yes. You've been reading other books besides Greenlights, huh?
We try to prepare.
Yeah. So mom and dad had some colorful fights and colorful ways to get back at each other. Oh, geez. They got into some fight about something. He was having to spend too much time at work, not giving enough attention to her. I don't know what it was, but he had all of his papers in his car. He'd get home, he had his briefcase and the shotgun seat of his car. Well, mom got mad at him and decided she was going to get the hose from the house, stick it in the window of the driver's seat and roll up the window at the top and fill the car up with water. It was a pretty good prank until it soaked all of his business papers, all of his work, his whole rolling office was now ruined. And then she didn't mean to go that far. She would have probably pulled that out and said, I don't mean to get him that bad. I just want to fill his car with water. But she had ruined all his papers. Oh, geez. Yeah.
How would you describe her middle finger?
A very windy road. Been broken 4 times by dad because she would start popping him in the forehead. Come on. And he'd be like, Katie, hey, Katie, stop it. And we'd be over there going like, stop it, Mom. You're going to wake the bear. You're poking the bear. And she was poking the bear, and she knew she was poking the bear. And he'd ask her to stop multiple times until, boom, she'd push him over the edge, and he did, gosh, dang it, and, fall doggone finger break. That didn't ever stop the fight. Trust me, that just started the fight.
You tell a very famous one, now famous one in the book about how your dad asks for more potatoes at the dinner table and, she calls him fat. And
that was it. Boom! Dad flipped the dining room table into the ceiling. Mom then ran to the cabinet and pulled out a 12-inch chef's knife, then squared off at him. Come on, fat man, I'll cut you wide open. Around and around they went until finally they moved toward each other and met in an animal embrace and made love. A red light turned green.
The question I had on that story is you said it ended in them having sex.
Yeah.
How did you know?
How did I know?
Yeah. I mean...
None of your business. That's a mighty personal question, Graham. That's not my story to tell. You can ask them. Dad's in heaven, mom's in the other room. I can bring her in.